So to all the viewers here today, hi, this is Kiran from Creative Zone, and I've been with the team here at Creative Zone, which is also my second family, for about 7 years now, consulting on business setup. It's, I would say, the longest and the long-standing company and the most trusted business here in the UAE. We help people setting up their companies in the UAE and also have recently expanded to Saudi and Qatar. So it's a one-stop shop for anyone who's looking to set up a company and then getting any other service which is related to business setup. That could be anything related to your residence visas or your dependent visas or any kind of NOCs you need, any concierge service you need, banking support you need, any meeting accesses you need, rooms access you need, space, business center. So it's a one-stop shop for everything you would need and anything you would need for your business. Creative Zone has so far assisted about 44,000 companies fulfill their dreams. And we work with not just SMEs, but also MNCs, a lot of different entrepreneurs who are looking to expand their business to the UAE, Saudi, and Qatar. We assist them. That's about Creative Zone. It was founded by three partners, and we've been 12 years in business now. I would also like to say to the viewers here that please kind of from here, we're going to talk about more on the business setup basics. So please take notes in terms of wherever you have any questions, because we'll have a Q&A round at the end of this, and then we could talk about more in terms of what kind of questions you had at certain stages, and then I'll be happy to answer from there. So for all the businesses out there and whoever is like starting up newly and they would want to set up their company here in the UAE, what kind of major challenges they would face? I want to touch base a little bit on that. I would say a lot of people are not aware in terms of, especially when you're new to the UAE, that how the rules and regulations work. There is ESR, there is AML, anti-money laundering, there is economic substance, there is UBO, ultimate beneficiary owner, which would be assisted by ourselves. And obviously we'll consult on every setup and every inquiry we receive. And one another thing is lack of clarity in terms of the jurisdictions, as there is mainland and free zones, and there are about 53 free zones here in the UAE. It's quite unclear, and obviously it's quite new for you, whoever is setting up a company, to see which option is most feasible for you. Where do you set up? Why not set up here and set up there? We guide you through all of that. So I would say those are the basic challenges for anyone who's looking to expand business here. And then now another challenge would be tax, as there would be corporate tax introduced in the mainland next year, which still has not a lot of clarity on, because the rules and regulations are not out yet on the corporate tax. The law hasn't been announced. So another challenge for, I would say, anyone who's looking to expand to UAE. Any questions on here, guys? Please take note, and we'll come to any sort of Q&A, any sort of questions in the Q&A round. Another thing I would like to talk about from here is that people think about what kind of business should I set up. A lot of people already know what they would want to do, and then a lot of people would do market research to see what business is more profitable at this time. As I'm already working, could I do a side hustle and see what else we could do, what else you could do out there? So COVID really taught all of us the importance of everything being digital and everything being online. And I would say e-commerce businesses really took on from there, and everything moved online. So brands who are into clothing or any other thing really profited, and I would say still in profit if you compare it before COVID and from COVID to the current situation, because everyone and everything has been moved online. So e-commerce is one of the most popular businesses, I would say, everyone is looking to do, and you could easily do it from home or from anywhere you are based. Another business would be digital marketing. Again, as it's more of the services are based online, which you would do for your clients, any kind of social media service, SEO, Google Ads, anything which is digital, I would say is another business which is booming right now and looming right now. Then I would talk about consultants. A lot of people are just providing consultancy online, various different kinds of consultancy, whether it's related to HR, it's related to financing, it's related to investments, or it's just basic business consulting or handling different kinds of projects, or doing any sort of XYZ consultancy. Those all businesses are also booming at this stage as it's all online again. Coming to why Dubai and why UAE in particular, why would someone want to expand their business here? The main reason I would say being is, of course, until now, whatever we would talk about is definitely applicable now, but the rules and regulations could change very frequently and is in the control of the government. So we cannot say whether the same rule will apply even after a week or even after a month. So right now, jurisdiction, free zone jurisdiction is tax-free jurisdiction, as well as mainland jurisdiction is tax-free jurisdiction. So a lot of people would look at that as one of the reasons to be expanding to UAE, their businesses. Another reason is that the country in itself is very, very welcoming, and they're very, very supporting of just not the entrepreneurs, but the diverse culture we have here. We have around 8 million expats here in the UAE. So I would say it's very friendly, and also it's very compliance friendly as well in that sense. Access to a lot of talent here in the UAE, I would say. And the last reason would be quality of life. Everyone would see that difference. I am from India, so I would see that difference coming and living here in the quality of life. So those would be, I would say, the main reasons as to why you would be looking at moving your businesses here. Of course, a lot of companies who are already established, they would want to move here in the UAE for their branding, for their brand presence, for also be able to provide the services directly here in the UAE. A lot of people would also be looking at having the physical spaces set up. Maybe it could be a store in the mall, it could be a restaurant, it could be a salon, and they're just taking their chain of their brand into the other countries. So they would be looking into doing that as well. Now, talking about now mainly what kind of license is available here, what are the differences, we'll come to the jurisdictions later in our webinar. First, we'll talk about what kind of licenses are available. So I'll take you through 2 different licenses which we have here in the UAE. The first one, very popular, and I would say everyone must have heard of it, those especially who are living in the UAE, is mainland license. Mainland license gives you flexibility to work with anyone inside UAE. So there is no restriction at all. If, let's say, you're looking to work with the government bodies, then definitely we would advise you to opt for a mainland license. If you're looking to work with private clients as well, you could do that as well. There's no restriction at all. You have unrestricted access to the local market when you register yourself in the mainland. There are a lot more options on the business activities. You would see about 2,000 to 3,000 activities available in the mainland. And any kind of business you're looking to set up, the activity can be found in the mainland. There are very fewer nationality restrictions in the mainland. So everyone can actually apply for a license, go through a process, and then get a residence visa for themselves, which would further allow them to open up a bank account as well here in the UAE to be able to run their businesses. It's the most prestigious license, I would say, which is available in the UAE. Then that's in all the Emirates. The mainland license is in all the Emirates. And then we come to the free zone. Free zone licenses, would say, very, very popular among expats as well as the locals who live here. 100% foreign ownership, which does not require you to have any kind of local agent to be appointed on your license or have a local sponsor for your business. So it's 100% owned by an expat, irrespective of whichever activity we're looking at in the free zone. While in the mainland, I would say it is very much activity dependent in the mainland. Another benefit of being in the free zone is that you do not require a physical space. If you want to have a physical presence and have a physical space, and you want your employees to be working from a space, or office, or maybe set up a warehouse, that's a different requirement altogether. But if someone's just starting up and they do not need that kind of space and do not have that requirement, they can easily operate virtually. So there's something called a flexi desk in the free zone, and you just get the registration through the flexi desk, which is available within the free zone premises, so not outside of the free zone premises. The good thing with the free zones is that you have multiple free zones here, and someone or the other free zone has something different to offer. If someone would want to set up specific, gold or precious stones or diamonds trading, we would recommend a specific TMCC free zone. Or if you're looking at a physical office in World Trade Center, we would offer that. If someone's looking at a very, very minimal option to start with, we would offer Dubai Maidan free zone to you. So there are lots of options on free zones, and once we understand more on the requirements of the client, we advise what is the best option for you out there. Another good thing about the free zone is that there's no paid up share capital requirement. There's no annual audits mandated also in the free zone, but that changes as per free zone to free zone. So a few of the free zones might require you to have annual audits, but most of them do not require you to have annual audits. It's a very easy incorporation process, and your license is issued within days when you talk about free zone. Whereas there are certain activities wherein in mainland also your license is issued in days. So it's very much activity dependent, I would say, on the mainland in terms of how the process would be taken further. Types of types of companies we could set up in both the cases. We would have LLC, which is limited liability company. And most of the free zone, you will find that option. In mainland, I would say LLC is mainly for commercial licenses, someone who is into trading, and not so much for the service industry, which is a professional license. Someone who would have a restaurant or salon would be falling as a sole establishment. That's the second type of license, which is the sole establishment professional license, wherein an expat is 100% owner in the company. And that's specifically for mainland, wherein you have to also appoint a local agent. As not a sponsor, local sponsor takes shares in the company, and local agent just act as an agent on the license. The share still remains with you. You are 100% owner of the company. Talking about the main differences, just for your own clarity, in terms of what are the main differences and how do I choose whether I would want to go for a mainland license or do I go for a free zone license. So that depends on a lot of factors, and that depends on very much on what clients looking for, what you're looking for at the end of the day, what kind of capital investment also you're looking for at the end of the day, and whether it's a startup company or a company which is expanding their businesses to UAE and is registered outside already. So ownership, I would say, was one of the main reasons and one of the main factors one would look at when setting up business here, and has to decide whether go for a mainland or free zone. Because a lot of people would like to retain 100% ownership within themselves and do not have any local sponsor or local agent to be appointed on the license. Another thing is cost, I would say, is another factor in terms of where should you set up for startup companies. If someone who's already a resident and working here and just looking to start something as a side business, then definitely cost could be one of the concerns. And they would look at maybe free zone because it's more cost effective if you're comparing at the end of the day with the mainland trade license. Office spaces in the mainland, it's mandatory to have an office space. And as per the size of the office, you get certain number of visas allocated. So it's 80 square feet, which allows you one visa allocation. Whereas in the free zone, we have different packages, and the packages wherein even up to 15 visas you can opt without getting a physical office space. So all under like a flexi desk, as we discussed before. Coming to visas, so as you guys must have heard, because this has been in the news a lot, visas are now, earlier in the mainland, the visas were for 3 years for investor and for employee 2 years. In the free zone, whether it's an investor or an employee, it would be 3 years for all. Now that has been changed to 2 years very recently, and all the visas, irrespective whether it's employee or employer, is going to be now for only 2 years, and that applies everywhere, mainland as well as free zone. Now, scope of business, how do you conduct your business? As we discussed before, mainland has unrestricted access to the local market. And of course, you can cater to the clients outside of UAE as well. Whereas free zone is limited to work outside of UAE or within the free zone capacity. If you're looking to work with any government organization, any government bodies, we would still recommend you very much to look at a mainland license compared to a free zone license. Mainland license plus point is that they're very, very flexible on banking as well. You can have a mainland license which is recognized everywhere and could approach any bank, and no bank could say no to your application because you have a very strong license with you, which is the mainland license. Pretty much same goes for free zone as well, but then with free zones, there might be some banks out there who would not be taking up the application, depending on bank to bank and which free zone the license has been issued from. In mainland, the audits are not mandated, same as in free zone, the audits are not mandated. For paid up share capital in the mainland, it's very much activity dependent. But if we talk about the basic activities as consultancy or someone setting up their restaurant or cafeteria or a salon, then there's no paid up share capital required. In free zone, depending on the free zone, paid up share capital requirement would apply. In most of the free zones, there's no paid up share capital mandated by the free zone. Business activities, you have room in both the cases for business activities, because the business activity of mainland is pretty much mirrored by the free zones here in Dubai. So in business activities, you could potentially find more activities in the free zone because they would have activities of mainland, and then they would have additional of their own international activities, which would be available in the free zone. Nationality restriction, as we touched base earlier, mainland has very fewer nationality restrictions, and there is a process to be followed. Whereas free zone, I would say, has a little bit more restrictions on the nationality, and the compliance is a bit more compared to mainland. Insurance is mandatory for employees, specifically, I would say, in the mainland, whereas that's not a mandatory requirement in the free zone. So in the mainland, once you have an employee, you must provide them a health insurance and also do a WPS registration, which is wage protection system, through which the salaries are transferred to the employees. Whereas when we talk about free zone, it's just regulated by the free zone authority. That's all about it in terms of the differences of mainland and free zone. And I hope it gives you, if you do have a business plan in mind, gives you a little bit of clarity in terms of which way you are headed. If not, we're still here. And of course, after understanding what exactly you're looking to do, we can advise on what best option is available for you out there as per your requirements. We not only, as mentioned earlier, set up your company, but also sort your residence visas, which anyone who's looking to move to UAE, if not already a resident here, would require to further have more banking options. We work with Emirates NBD, Dubai Islamic, Mashreq, Rock Bank, ADCB, and many other banks, wherein we can also assist you with corporate banking through our concierge team. That's about it in terms of the basics of setting up your business here in the UAE. I would leave the floor to you guys to ask any questions you may have, and I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you, Kiran. I think if anybody has any questions, please unmute yourself and feel free to ask. While you think about it, I have the first question for Kiran. Kiran, the difference between mainland license and free zone license is pretty clear now, thanks to your explanation this afternoon. My question is regarding the mandates for getting LCs, letters of credits, and getting more flexibility from the bank when it comes to loans and funding. What is your recommendation on if it's a startup who wants to kind of scale with the bank's support? What should be the ideal way to go forward?
So here in the UAE, as you must already know, things work a lot differently compared to any other country, whether it is in terms of, the structure we have here, or the government here, the rules and regulations here, the licensing types. So letter of credit, we also come across a lot of inquiries where someone would only want to set up a company if this is facilitated through the banks, which is not facilitated through the banks at this stage. We do have other options though, wherein we do different sort of campaigns within house, and I'm sure there are more houses out there who do different funding campaigns. And after you take part in that and you explain the whole business and you kind of present what exactly you're looking to do, a management goes through that and see which business they would like to fund. So last year or early this year, we have funded 2 businesses, and this is an ongoing process which we do. We've done it last year, this year, and I'm sure this is going to continue and happen next year as well. But to answer your question, in short, for letter of credit, that's not really recognized by the banks here. When they see someone coming in buying a property, a mortgage for the property, yeah, that's definitely funded by the bank. But when it comes to more on the business side, letter of credits are not facilitated as of now here in the UAE.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, anyone else with any questions, or should we move to the next stage? Okay, I think we can move on. Kiran.
Perfect. That's pretty much all from my side. If there are any questions, guys, let me know.
Okay, I think you've explained everything very clearly. Any questions, anyone? You can even type the questions down if you want to if you're not in the position to unmute yourself and ask. We'll wait for another 2 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, we can also email Kiran personally, and Olivia, her colleague, has just sent a message with her email address on it. Thanks, Olivia, for that.
Yes, guys, you can email me at Kiran at creativezone.ae. My name's spelled as Kiran, and I'll be happy to arrange a call time with you and then further assist you accordingly.
Kiran, for It's a Way, the buzzword today is the DED license. Do you want to shed some light on that since we have time?
Correct. So yeah, of course. So mainland license is also DED license. So DED is Department of Economic Development here in Dubai. So that's, I would say, another term, or everyone, if not say mainland, then they would say DED license, which is the main regulatory body here in the UAE. And then through them, you obtain, an onshore license, which allows you to provide your services to work with anyone and everyone here in the UAE. So unrestricted access to the local market, as we discussed before.
Okay, and what are the starting fees of those licenses, services, or products?
Sure. So the different kinds of licenses here in the DED, there would be a professional license, and then there's a commercial license. Professional is a service-based license, and commercial is the trading-based license. So I would say the minimum package you'd be looking at for a professional activity would be 25,000, and the minimum package you would look at for a commercial activity would be 28,000. That does not include a residence visa. That's something you're only looking for the trade license fee. And if your activity demands you to have a physical office space, it's something you cannot do with a virtual office, then you'll have to have a physical office as well.
What about the e-trader licenses?
E-trader license. Yeah, sorry.
Are the price structures same for the e-traders?
No. E-trader license is a different product which DD provides to a lot of people who are looking to, just work and provide services, as I would say, freelance, or if not freelance, just try the market out there and see how it goes. E-trader license, I would say, is the most cost-effective option, but is not available for all the activities, and not all expats can apply for it.
Oh, so not all expats. So there are restrictions in nationalities.
Yes, so locals would have access to all kinds of activities, but the limited activities available with the e-trader, and not every nationality would be able to apply for the e-trader. It also does not give you visas. So let's say if you would want further help with the banking, you would not be able to get residence visa from the e-trader license.
Okay, good to know. Great. I think this was really helpful, Kiran. If there are any questions that come our way, some might later on, once we post everything online and once we share the recording of the video. So we'll wait for that. And yeah, we'll reach out to you whenever there is an inquiry. Thank you so much for doing that.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
There's a question here. Sorry, to work on Amazon, do we need any license?
Yes, you do. So if you're looking to sell a product on Amazon and register as a vendor, you would require an e-commerce license.
Mm-hmm.
So e-commerce essentially allows you to be able to sell the products online. Amazon has their own facilities in terms of storage and delivery. So you're sorted there if you're looking to work with third parties like Amazon or Noon. And if you would require, to register your company in the free zone, then you would have to have a fulfillment company through which you could deliver your products, or let's say clear your products in case you would like to sell it online through your own website.
Okay. Yeah, that even we know. And Amazon does not accept, or even the larger marketplaces do not accept e-trader licenses. They need physical e-commerce licenses. And that is
correct.
That is a good question. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, I think that's a wrap, Kiran. Very, very effective. Thank you very much once again. Yeah, we will send the recording to everybody. I'm sorry. We will send the recording to everybody, and there were some people who have not joined even when they've booked, since they've booked, but everybody will receive a post-event email with recording links and Kiran's contact details to take this further. Thank you very much once again,
Perfect.
Kiran.
Thank you so much, Amin, for having
guys,
us today.
I think we have one more question in the chat. Can you just take a look, please?
That's the question that we just answered.
Okay, it's done, right? Okay, because it showed at 5, so I just thought if we've left it out.
No, it's we've just done that. All right. Okay. Thanks, Kiran. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. See you then.
See you. Bye-bye.